Hello and welcome to our preview of the final here in Beijing, the 2013 China Open and ATP World Tour 500 event. Lee Goodall alongside Jason Goodall. 6 of the world's top 10 players here at the start of the week. Jason, the top 2 players in the world through to the final. Couldn't have worked out any better.
Undeservedly so, but both have been tested this week. Djokovic dropped a set against Fernando Verdasco. The Spaniards had a really good season, played some good tennis in that match, but Djokovic coming through the tail end of the third set very strongly. And of course the big story was Nadal falling behind a set and a break against Fabio Fognini. The Italian had points for 4-love in that second set and a point for 5-1. And really Nadal competed exceptionally well to be able to turn that match around. Then got a bit of good fortune in the semi-finals against Thomas Berdych when he hurt his back and went straight out onto the practice court there, and that will have teed him up nicely for the final.
Yes, some escape against Fognini, wasn't it? Of course, Rafa came here knowing that a run to the final would put him back at the top of the world rankings. He's done that, but he'll want to get the trophy in his hands, won't he?
Well, there's no question about that. He's had such a sensational season, but it's all about the matchup as far as these two are concerned, and they've played a fair few times this year, but it's changed the dynamic between these two of late. Initially, Djokovic dominated on the clay in Monte Carlo, played very well in that final, and that teed him up nicely for the French Open, and he thought he had a chance of winning that tournament for the first time, and they had that epic semi-final. Had so many chances in that 5th set, but wasn't able to eventually prevail. That really hurt him. They then played in Montreal. That went the distance, 3rd set tiebreak, but he played a poor tiebreak there. Had no chance really of winning that match. Then, of course, they played at the US Open, and that 3rd set was really, really tight when he had those break points. Lost that game, wasn't able to convert, then lost his serve in the very next game, and then fell away very sharpish in that 4th set. So I think that's been very problematic for Djokovic. If things haven't quite gone according to plan of late against Nadal, he hasn't been able to compete. So that will be key in the final.
Of course, we must point out that Djokovic has owned this tournament in the last few years. 3 titles, 18 successive victories. He's never lost in this stadium. Is that going to play a part? And who's your money on?
Well, it'll give him a lot of confidence, there's no question about that, but I think more importantly, he's got some real mental baggage when he comes up against Nadal. So I think that's going to be the key. How is he going to be able to respond if things don't quite go according to plan? There's no way you can bet against Nadal, there's no question about that. So he's the favourite, but hopefully they both play as well as we know they're capable of, because they're both fantastic shot makers, and the quality of tennis, if they do, could be absolutely outstanding.
The top 2 players in the world gunning for glory in Beijing. You can watch full and live coverage from 4 p.m. local time on TennisTV.com.